Hi everyone, Becca here from Scratch. I hope you're all having a fantastic week. Now, you may have seen across our website and our socials this week that this week is Talk Money Week. Now, it's an event dedicated to encouraging conversations about money and finance, and that is the conversation we'll be having today, as I'm going to be joined by Ria-Jaine Lincoln, who you may know as the Beauty Accountant. She is an award-winning accountant and advisor for nail and beauty pros, and she is going to be talking all things money and business with us today. So hopefully we can add her in soon and get started. Oh, I can see you there, so let's add you in, Ria. And of course, if you have any questions throughout, please just comment them below and we will ask Ria. And if you don't have time to watch this now, or you've got a client, do not worry, this will be available to watch later across our socials and on our website and YouTube. Okay, it says it's adding you in, so hopefully any minute now. Let's see. It still says adding you in, so hopefully. Let's try again. Maybe if you request to join, that might work. Let's see. Okay, it says add in again, so hopefully we'll get there this time. Yeah.
Oh.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Sorry about that. Technical issues, as always.
Always the way. How's your week been?
Yes, not too bad. Very busy. We're getting into our busy tax season.
Yeah.
But also, as a business owner myself, it's like that end of year, when you start reviewing everything and you want to start planning ahead. So yeah, nice and busy.
I bet. So why don't we start by you telling us a little bit about your career, how you've got to where you are now, and sort of the services you offer.
Yeah, sure. So I started in accounting about 16 years ago. Quite a diverse story. I started studying when I was living in a refuge with my young son. He was 18 months then, but he actually works with me now. So I know you met him at the beauty show. So I went into college and then I went into corporate and worked there for around 9 years and decided to have a bit of a career change. And that is when I trained with biosculpture doing nails and started to work in a salon. So I switched from the accountancy to beauty. And then when I was within the beauty space, I was talking to so many people and I just really wanted to help people know what they needed to do after their training. So, not only go and get your insurance, but you need to register for tax and this is how you do it. So then that's how the beauty accountant came about. And it's 6 years. We've been going 6 years now, I think it is.
Oh,
Cool.
that's amazing. And like you said, I think starting a business, like starting a beauty business, pros are so overwhelmed with sort of those business aspects of it, because they're great at their job, but understanding that is very overwhelming. So what would you say that pros sort of need to know if they're starting a business, sort of that business side?
I think from the beginning, just keep track of everything. So when it comes to income and expenses, there are.
Oh, you're back. Oh, I think you're muted again. know how we get that off. Yeah, it's got a little mute button at the bottom, but I don't know how you get that off. I think there's like a little speaker at the bottom. If you press that, it should come off. No. There should be like a little microphone button. Oh no, can't hear you. Wonder why it's done that. Oh, okay, we've lost just for a minute, but hopefully we can bring her back in and get chatting again. I'll send an invitation. You're back.
Hello. I'm so sorry. My phone was ringing and then it muted me and I don't know what happened.
Do not worry.
So, so for pros, the first thing you need to do is make sure you've got an idea of your business plan. And the reason I say that is because part of your business plan, you're going to think about your cash flow and your systems and processes, your pricing structures. So it's all relevant. A lot of people don't do that in the beginning. So, you know, they'll get their training done and then straight away it's like, oh, we need to get models in, or we need to think about the lower prices to get people in. And it's all just a bit, you know, there's no real strategic plan behind it. My biggest tip is, even if you are working part-time or, you know, just a few hours here and there from home, just treat the business as a business. It doesn't matter about the size. You still need to keep accounting records. You still need to make sure you're pricing correctly.
Yeah.
And you still need to, I call them success days. So you still need to have those admin days. We say success day because no one wants to miss a success day. So it looks boring in your calendar if it's admin day. And you need to have that time from the beginning where you think about your finances, your business plan, even the professional development, because you're going to have to budget for training and if there's events coming up. So biggest tip, set one day a month as success day.
Love that.
And everything else can fall into place on that day with regards to keeping track of your income and expenses and HMRC responsibilities.
And so I wonder, what are the implications if sort of what point can it get to if you've not been organised and then later down the line realise you've got all this stuff to do? Sort of, what are the implications of that?
So it's honestly the fastest way to lose money as a small business owner, by not doing these things, because late registration, incorrect tax returns, all of those things are going to cost you penalties, interest with HMRC, but also if you're rushing your tax return, the chances are you may not have kept all of your receipts and allowable expenses. So you're missing out on tax relief and paying too much tax. So it's, the implication is you're going to lose money. And, you know, they do have criminal sort of sanctions, you know, further down the line as well. There was a case recently, a director who's gone to jail for a few months. That's when you're a limited company structure. So that's a kind of different thing to the self-employment. But it's just, yeah, there are sanctions and penalties if you don't do these things. So it's tax law at the end of the day as well. So you have to do it.
Not scaremonger, but it's important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so important. And it's just, and obviously you're not going to go to jail for not doing your self-assessment in the first kind of 12 months. We're not saying that. You do have time to register. So if you're starting your new business, especially if you're earning more than £1,000, because there is a trader's allowance, which is something else that I'll explain in a moment. You do have until the 5th of October in your second tax year. So you've got time. So there's no excuse not to get registered for self-assessment. It's super easy as well. And you can do it online on gov.uk.
Amazing. And so then going forward, you've sort of built your business and, you know, you're doing well, but sort of as you go forward, what are the key areas and sort of dates and things that you need to be aware of all the time?
Yeah, so the tax year, so that's a really important one, even if you're a limited company or self-employed, and that runs the 6th of April to the 5th of April each year. I usually get them mixed around, but that's it's the 6th to the 5th. And also you will have the tax return deadline, so that's 31st of January, which is probably what everyone is working towards at the moment, because even though we can start the tax return, at the end of April, most people, there was over 1 million late tax returns this year, January 24. So yeah, I bet that's the deadline that everyone's panicking about or working towards at the moment.
Yeah. So is that the thing that pros need to be focusing on right now?
If they have been sent a notice to file a tax return, then yes. If they haven't registered, they should be getting registered straight away, because we've gone past that 5th of October deadline. So if they're in their second tax year, I always say just get registered, as soon as possible. So if you know that it's going to be a viable business, it's not a hobby, just sign up for the online Gov Gateway account, get your unique tax reference number, and make sure you get your personal tax account set up with HMRC as well, because you're going to see all your deadlines there. You'll be able to submit your tax return, through your online tax account, and you can also check how much you need to pay, set up direct debits, or make payments weekly or monthly if that's what you prefer.
That's great, and that's good that it tells you everything. So I think pros are like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm working towards, but if it's all laid out, that's quite nice.
Yeah, it's laid out once it's submitted. So if you submit your tax return through HMRC, if you use an accountant, so such as myself, we have our own tax return software, so it's slightly different. But then if you're using an accountant, they'll be able to tell you, what your deadlines are, how to pay, what's your reference, when to pay, and to help plan ahead as well.
Amazing. And so I wondered, what in all the experience you've had in the industry, I wonder what are some of the main sort of mistakes that you've seen businesses make that you think could be easily avoided, and just great tips for pros to take on board today?
I think blending business and personal transactions, so not having a business bank account. A lot of people don't realise that on your personal account, sometimes there'll be terms to say that you can't actually trade through that account. So it's quite risky, because if your bank then finds out, they could freeze, the account whilst they investigate. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes, because then when it comes to tax return time, they're having to work through business and personal transactions. So you're doing double the work to try and filter out and work out what was business and what wasn't. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest things. And then the other side of it is when the business, excuse me, is well established and not understanding sort of like VAT thresholds and those filing deadlines as well. So I guess it's just make sure you can separate your income, personal and business, because then it's going to make it easier and quicker to do your tax return, and make sure you're registered and know your deadlines.
Yeah, amazing. Just keep an eye on everything. That's important, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just literally, if you have that one day a month, even if it's just 15 minutes, so block it out in the diary now, so treat it as an actual appointment. And it just, you've got 12 opportunities then to do the right thing, haven't you? So rather than getting to the end of the year and having to go through 12 months worth of transactions, so make it easy for yourself and do 1 month at a time. Keep all your receipts as well. So we do have to keep our accounting records as business owners. So a lot of people don't keep all their receipts, and then they miss out on tax relief as well later, because they might forget about a transaction, especially if it's been paid cash and it's not showing on a bank account, or if they don't know what it is on their bank account.
Yeah, amazing. And I guess, is there a way, a lot of pros will probably think, oh, I've got to keep everything, but I don't want to be disorganized with it. Is there a way they can keep it sort of digitally, would you say?
Yeah.
So it's
you can keep it on the cloud. Even receipts, we use a receipt capture tool, so you can just take a picture of your receipt or forward your emails, or you get a special address so that your supplier can just email straight to the software. So that keeps it all on the cloud. I think if you're using a spreadsheet, I love a spreadsheet. So yeah, I think spreadsheets are great. Making tax digital is going to be coming into play into a few years. So things like QuickBooks will help keep all your data online, so in the cloud. But if you have an online bank account, or if you have, a business bank account, you can export a spreadsheet from your business bank account as well. So that keeps a lot of your information, but you still need evidence such as your sales reports as proof of your sales and your receipts as proof of those expenses as well. So some people think that they can just have the bank statement and kind of that's it, but you still need to build your accounting records.
Right, get you. And I wanted to talk to you. We've obviously had the autumn budget last week, and there was a lot of sort of impacts on businesses in there. What are your top tips for pros wanting to navigate this? Because I know there's been quite a lot of backlash and worry around it.
Yeah, I think for self-employed businesses, unless they're employers, there isn't much of an impact. There wasn't really nothing really changed
Yeah,
on that side of it, other than there was a reduction in the threshold for making tax digital. So that means that if you're earning 20,000 or more, you're going to be caught by making tax digital rules. So you're going to have to get a bookkeeping system and process. And that's going to include quarterly submissions to HMRC instead of just the once a year thing. So yeah, that's quite a big kind of change that I haven't really heard much about. But that's that's coming, that's in the future. With regards to the employers' national insurance and changes to minimum wage, if you are an employer or if you are maybe you're self-employed at the moment without a team but you're thinking to grow and you want to grow a brand, it's all going to be about careful cash flow planning to make sure that you can adapt to these changes, you can afford to have staff. With the increase in employers' national insurance, there was also the increase in the employer's allowance. So while some employers are going to have a hike in that national insurance bill, we do have the employer's allowance that most people are going to be able to offset that.
Yeah.
So I think for the budget, if you've got 5 staff members or more, then have a conversation with your accountant ideally and just forward plan. If you're thinking about growing a team, you need to just consider all of these things and a brand in your business plan as well. Because I know we've got the self-employed versus employed debates that happen as well. That's something we're actually going to be covering in a few weeks a bit more. But yeah, it's just thinking about your business structure, thinking about your brand and how you want to grow, or if you're going to stay a sole trader. And then you need to decide how those different tax rules are going to affect you, because it all depends on the individual. And their tax position personally as well. So I hope that helps. It feels like a bit of a woolly answer.
No, because it depends on the person. And I guess a lot of the changes are coming in April, aren't they? So there's time to sort of evaluate.
Yeah, there's definitely time. And I think what's happening is everyone's seeing online and in the news, how bad the budget was for small businesses. But I think it's just about perspective and the type of small business that people are actually talking about there. So I think there is going to be a heavy impact on those, say, salon owners who have got 5 staff members or more, and then the changes to business rates. So then it depends if you've got premises or not. But I think seeing the headline, small business owners, everyone kind of feels affected in one way or another. There is a positive spin to what's happening, and I don't know if everyone's going to go at me for this, but with the increase in the minimum wage, there's going to be more money, so customers and clients should be having more money to come and spend with you. So that's one way to look at it. There is going to be more money flowing into the economy, but it is going to be a challenge for those small businesses, especially those with staff or looking for apprentices and things like that. It's getting quite challenging out there at the moment.
I love that you put a positive spin on that, because the sort of narrative in the news is very negative, but that's lovely.
Yeah, I think because we're all seeing it from the business perspective, because we are the business owners, but then think about all of those customers that you've got that may be getting a nice little pay rise. And they might actually, the workers are quite happy or maybe happy with that. So yeah, just try to think about the big picture as well. It's quite easy to get lost in all the narrative, especially what gets shared on the news and social media then. So, but I think just breathe, have a look at your business plan and do a cash flow forecast and you'll be fine.
That advice. So also coming up this month is Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So obviously that is quite it's a discount focused time, and I think a lot of pros, I know I've spoken to a few, and are a bit sort of concerned about how to go about this. So what would be your tips?
I don't know if this is a very helpful tip, but I feel like it's really late to be planning for that kind of thing. So if you haven't already, hopefully this tip will help for next year. With regards to discounting, I'm very heavy on upselling over discounting. So, you know, if you've got someone coming in, maybe there's a hand cream, or you can upgrade their treatment to include like a hand massage or hot towels, or, you know, just something like that. So I'm quite big on upselling over discounts. However, if you are doing the discounts, don't do it. Don't feel like you have to be pressured into doing it, and just make sure that you're doing a cash flow forecast. So know exactly why you're discounting, how much you're discounting, and what your goal is. So say if you've got, I don't know, 50% off, your target might be to get double the amount of bookings because you're selling it at half the price. So that means you're going to have to sort of put the effort into your marketing and make sure you hit those figures that you need so that you're not impacted. So it's just about being strategic with it.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is, if some people like to sell courses of treatments and things within their businesses, just watch out for VAT thresholds as well, because sometimes it will be those busy discount months that can push a business owner just over those thresholds, and it can happen around Christmas time as well. So just monitor the income as well and see how it's going to affect you on that side of it. And then the other thing as well is, if people are getting vouchers and they're going to redeem them at a later date, just be careful with your cash flow as well, because if you're spending all the money now and then you're going to be working for free in the next month because everyone's going to be redeeming those vouchers or offers. So be strategic with it. So make sure you've got dates that they can use and buy, and you know, maybe put the date for January and February when it starts to get a bit quieter. So it's just about thinking strategically. So everything that you do, you're going to be doing it for a reason, for a purpose, for your business, and not just because it's a Black Friday sale, you know, day and everyone's doing it. So yeah, just think strategically about it.
Yeah, I think it's all about planning, isn't it? And sort of maybe that's setting goals and then trying to work towards that, rather than just thinking, oh, I need to do this, everyone else is doing it.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, as a business owner, you're in control. So, you know, if it gets to a point where you need to stop that kind of promotion or whatever, just take action, and you need to be quick on taking action. So yeah, just remember you're in control and keep an eye on how it's going. But we do see some real successes, you know, around this time of year with all the offers and everything. But then it's just making sure that the next month you're not affected by cash flow, even if you put it aside in a pot, and then, you know, you bring that money back into the business when they redeem their voucher, for example. But yeah, I do love an upsell though over a discount.
I love that as well, because you're sort of saying that thing again, it depends on your business. So if you are in control, just think about you and your clients and your business.
And see what they want as well, because sometimes we're doing things just because everyone else is. But if you really get to know your customers, they might actually prefer that hand cream or that cuticle balm, or you know, they might want to bring their sister or daughter in because they're quite close with their family. So you can tailor those packages to suit each individual as well. And that's just about really getting to know your client and customer base.
Love that. And so can you tell us a little bit about sort of the services you offer to pros?
Yeah, so we offer the traditional bookkeeping and accountancy services. So bookkeeping on QuickBooks, we have tax return services, VAT, payroll. The part that I enjoy is the strategic planning side of it. So we offer business energizers, business planning, cash flow forecasting. So it's almost like business coaching, mentoring, but we keep the tax side of it in mind, because, you know, you could have the best business coaching in the world and make thousands, but if you don't know you've got to register for VAT, or that you should be a limited company, you could then just be losing loads of money because you haven't got the right structure. So I try to combine all of my knowledge in the industry with the tax side of it into those extra services. But we also hold accountability sessions, so for clients it's included, but we have open sessions as well where people can come on to the Zoom call for their success day and do all their bookkeeping stuff, but I'm there as well if they need to ask any questions.
I love that. I was going to ask that, like, how much support can they get as they go along, sort of things? So obviously you help with all the planning and the strategic stuff, but then as they go forward, sort of, is your support just, it continues?
Yeah, so if all of our clients have access to me, so they get a monthly check-in call, so they have their own link, they can book that in. I highly encourage them to book up throughout the year because, as we all know, it's easier to move a booking than it is to squeeze someone in. So we have the monthly check-ins, ongoing email and support there. We've got weekly business news, online webinars, and ebooks. So one that I was thinking about when I was talking here is our allowable expenses ebook, which might actually be good for people at this time of year. So I'd be happy to share that with you. It's just a link to the Google document. So yeah, all of those kind of resources, but also how to incorporate your business and register and deal with HMRC. So we get all the brown letters and we make all the phone calls as well. So I say we, but it's myself, my mum and my son.
Love that so much. And so if a pro is watching today and they want to access your services, where should they go?
So it's thebeautyaccountant.co.uk is the website, so you can submit an inquiry there, or just Ria-Jaine across all platforms. So I answer all of my messages. If you pop me a message, I'm happy to book a call as well. So we do have free discovery calls, and they can be accessed through the link in all my bios. So that's probably the best starting point because we can't really talk too much on the DMs. I have to have a bit of detail. So yeah, highly recommend using the free discovery call. And then even if people don't go ahead to sign up straight away, we usually can give some value. I can't give tax advice, but I can give guidance during that initial call as well.
Amazing. Well, it's been great to have you here today. I feel like I've learned so much.
Oh, thanks for having me. No, it's really good to be talking about it as well, and it's good that you're doing it to help obviously your audience and community, because everyone struggles and they don't know where to go really to talk about it. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Yes. All right, take care.
Later.